Hi, I'm Shelley Maurer,
And I'm Cher Emmerich. Welcome to Life Lessons from Pickleball.
where we engage with pickleball players from around the world about life on and off the court.
Thanks for joining us.
Before we get started, we have something really exciting to share.
Our book, Life Lessons from Pickleball, is now available on Amazon, and a portion of every sale is donated to Operation PaddleLift.
Your purchase helps deliver paddles, nets, and resources to underserved communities around the world.
Thank you for being a part of growing the game we all love. Now let's jump into today's episode. Welcome everyone to Life Lessons from Pickleball. Today's guest has one of the most inspiring transformation stories we've come across in this sport, and we're truly honored to welcome Brian Montgomery.
Brian, you're a pickleball competitor, health journey advocate, and Optiva nutrition coach, originally from a small town in Lodi, California, now living in Naples, Florida. But what really stands out is the way you chose to rewrite your life through discipline, movement, and consistency.
And a few years ago, you were close to 390 pounds and struggling physically. You began walking, just showing up day after day, and somewhere along that journey, pickleball entered your life and everything started to shift.
Through daily habits, accountability, and choosing yourself one decision at a time, you lost more than 190 pounds. But what you gained feels even bigger: a new mindset, a new identity, joy, confidence, and community on the pickleball court.
And today you're also an ambassador for Pro Drive Pickleball and the hashtag Pickleball Strong clothing brand. And you're helping others pursue sustainable health through structure, community, and showing up even when it's hard.
Brian, we're so grateful you're here with us today. Your story isn't just about weight loss, it's about discipline, identity, and learning to put yourself first after years of putting yourself last. Let's start at the beginning. What was going on the moment you realized something has to change?
I don't know if there was an exact moment. It was a culmination of moments. I had been putting myself to the side, and in previous time, I was playing competitive racquetball. I played for about 27 years, competitive racquetball. Played at the open level, went to the nationals a few times, but had stopped playing for about the last 8 or 9 years. And kind of life just happened, and kind of was forgetting about myself, and being a single parent, I was running around taxiing around everybody, and started eating fast food, which was an easier way to do things. And next thing you know, I kept saying increments of weight, like, okay, 20 more pounds, I'll start losing weight for sure. 20 more pounds, that's it. Or I'll start next Monday, or I'll wait off till Christmas. And all those days I kept changing the benchmark of where it was allowing that to happen. And it was interesting. I did a lot of work from home where I was on the computer a lot, and I always had like the TV in the background playing as background noise. And I always saw those pharmaceutical commercials, and it was like Wegovy, and it was Manjaro, and it was Ozempic, and it was all these like diabetic type things. And I kept saying to myself, I wonder if that's like a sign or something. And I never went to the doctor because I was afraid, knowing I was that heavy, what the results were. So I had symptoms. I had a lot of symptoms happening, and I was afraid to know what those were. So I started Googling, like most people do when they have an ailment. And you're like, oh my gosh, that looks like type 2 diabetes. Oh. So I never had that because I was pretty in shape a lot of my life, for not that heavy. And I decided that was it. So I went for a walk, and my first goal was to do 5,000 steps. And whatever that took, it didn't have to be at one time. So I made my first goal. So if it was around the block, and I would stop and then come back like an hour or two later and go around the block again until I made 5,000 steps.
Wow.
And then 5,000 steps was like 6,000 steps like the next week. I kept making sure I pushed it always just a little bit further, but not so far that the goal was too big that I just threw my hands up and said, forget it. It's just too much. I can't lose weight, never mind. And then the momentum took place. So that's kind of how it started. And then it was more of also, it's embarrassing to say this, is like I'd go to my son's sports games and I'm the heavier guy and he's playing, his high school sports. And, the dad, you want your dad to be not looking like the big guy out there, and I felt that, I was kind of a little bit embarrassed, and I'm like, I don't want my kids to see me that way. I want them to know that their dad is healthy and is willing to make a change. And when life gets hard, they would see that you can still dig in and still do things. So that's kind of how it started.
How long were you doing this before pickleball entered?
So when I started, so pickleball entered after I lost probably the first 80 pounds. It was like, so I was 388 or so, and I got to 300 pounds just from walking. So it was like walking, and
Wow.
I did 23 hours of fasting. That was the main goal. Once I got to 300 pounds, I decided to finally go to the doctor. I went to the doctor because I knew if I went to the doctor early, I knew what they were going to tell me. Probably I had diabetes and that I needed to lose weight. And I knew that was the answer. So I was in California, moved to Florida, and I finally got a primary physician. I said, I want to go to the doctor, kind of get set up all again. I hadn't seen a doctor in probably like 8 years, a long time.
Mm.
And I did the test. My blood pressure was pretty high than it should be, but it wasn't extreme high. So I've already been losing weight. So I've already been doing some exercise. And I said, hey, can you prick my finger and see what my sugar level is? I just have a feeling. He pricked my finger and said that A1C is a 13. You need to go to the ER right now. I was like, wait, I've been walking and exercising. There's no way. So I went to the ER and they said I didn't need insulin. My sugar was high. So I got onto a regimen of eating more healthier, and I learned how to eat clean. Before I'd say I'm eating healthier, right? But there's so much sugar and so much stuff that you don't even realize from sauces and all that,
Mhm.
that I learned to eat clean. So I started eating clean. And I'm getting back to your question because it's a long
Yeah.
ways to get to it. But I realized, so a month later, after eating correctly, I got my A1C down to a 9. 2 months later, I got to my A1C to a 5.1 and reversed type 2 diabetes.
Wow.
So at 270, 260 pounds, in my community here in Florida, they had pickleball, and I could hear it as I walk, because I always did laps around this where I live,
Ah.
and I always hear it, and I knew the game. I knew of the game from playing racquetball. But I never got into it. So I kind of would peek in there. I was like, 260 pounds, I'm going to try to run around like I'm 20 again and hurt myself being that big, So I'm going to wait a little bit more. And I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to go get a paddle. I'm going to go try to integrate into these. So I started playing with like the 2.5 players, the real low level players. And I had racquetball skills. I knew how to hold. So it picked up really quickly. And then I started playing more at 3.0 and I joined leagues. And then my weight started going down more. Being in Florida, it's got crazy humidity and heat here. So that was helping additionally. So that's how the pickleball started for me. Is it was starting in my local community and then playing with the lower level-ish beginner level players and learning the game and understanding the game. And then from there it's taken its big journey here.
Wow. Wow. I'm just trying to unpack everything you just said. It's incredible. You lost that much weight. People that you can reverse your own type 2 diabetes, how important it is. We all know
Yeah,
our food, what we eat is so important, but
it
to really
is.
understand what clean eating is and what we're eating, it's not just reducing the amount of what we eat, it's what we
Correct.
eat,
Yeah.
right?
All right.
And keeping the sugars.
Yeah.
I mean, that's so inspirational to hear that you reverse your type 2 diabetes on your
Oh
own.
yeah. I was on. I mean, I literally was on. If my A1C was 13, and that was after losing 80 pounds, so I was not paying attention to my life. I mean, I was knowing, right? So this is after losing 80 pounds, it was 13. I was probably having pretty close to, a coma from, diabetes
Yes.
and not being undocumented and unwatched. And I was just like rolling the dice. I can't believe I did that, but I
I
Well,
think
guess it's
it's
because you kept so active. That's the only thing I can think of,
and I
right?
just and I just kept I kept pushing and pushing and going forward. But not
mhm.
everybody. It's really. I mean, I have a lot of drive more than most people because there's a lot of people say, "Well, I can't do what you do, Brian. There's no way I can do it." Well, it wasn't always about how big, like if you try to make goals that are so big, then you'll never do them. But if you say I walk a mile a day and you did it every day and you said at the end of the month, I just did 30 miles. If you look at it like that, it looks different. Or if you did 5,000 steps, well, if you did that over a month, it's like a huge number. And like, okay, that sounds cool. Then it does like, I just did 5,000 steps, right? So I feel, because I was there too, if you make your goals too big, then you won't reach those goals. But if you make them small micro goals and you just stay every day doing, because consistency is the only way this all works. It's never like I did it for a week and then I stopped for 2 weeks and I did right. If you just stay with the plan, just stay doing it, no matter, it doesn't have to be sprinting down the street. It doesn't mean you have to ride 40 miles on the bike. It's just do it over and over and over and over. And then it becomes habit. So anyways.
And being able to look back, you always will have the goal in front of you, but if you can look back and say, look how far I've come.
Yeah.
Yesterday I got up, I walked, and today I got up and walked. Yeah.
Oh, that's what social media was for me. It was my accountability manager.
Oh,
If I didn't post, then I didn't do it. So it wasn't for sharing. It was, but it wasn't. So I would like take pictures of my watch, like, oh, 5,000 steps today. I know it was probably everybody saw that in their feed, like, oh my God, I'm tired of looking at this guy's stupid watch. But it was for me. I did it for me. And then I would add more stuff and talk, and then they would see people were like, great job, you're awesome. And then that's like, okay, well, maybe they like hearing what I have to say. So and then you put my before and after pictures and like, wow, that's I mean, 200 pounds. That's an adult male I took off my body. I was carrying around a 200-pound man on me.
which
I don't know
means
how I
you
did
were
it.
incredibly strong. I mean, when we think about that too, that your body was so strong it could carry a whole nother man for day after day after day. So there's
Yeah,
also that. And then you had the strength of conviction. And I was going to ask you, most of us need people to help us reach our goals. And at
right.
first it sounded like you were completely on your own in your own world, but then you started sharing your story, and then that created a support system for you.
Yeah, it became it became momentum in the sense of like I was going to do it anyways, but it's like it made me go further. It made me go longer, because when I walk around this community, people would see me like they would pull up in their car and like, dude, I saw you like 3 hours ago walking. You're still walking. I went to work this morning, and you're still walking. I just got off work. Like, because there'd be times I'd walk like 17 miles. It takes me like 6 hours, 7 hours to do that. So that was so I was like, okay, people like that. People see that, like that gives, I mean, then they come up like, you're the most inspiring person I've ever, they would say that stuff. And it's like, okay, I need to keep doing this. No matter what, it's an identity thing, it's becoming, who I am and what people see of that. And I knew I had to keep living out loud, because it wasn't just for me, it's for others too.
I like that,
So,
living out loud.
yeah. So I was going to say, so I was thinking, what really kept you going when it got hard? So was it the people around you, like you were just saying?
So it's always been hard, but
Mhm.
because I stayed on the path, I always knew that well, the path has changed, but it was like I walked 10 miles a day. If I did it 4 and 6, 3 and 4, I made sure I did 10 miles. It was 10 miles, it became 10 miles a day. And then it's like, okay, I'm gonna do 10 miles straight. And then I would do 10 miles straight until I got to do that. Okay, now I'm gonna do 12 miles straight, right? I kept just changing the bar, right? But I would take the big goal, let's just say it was 10 miles, and I would break the big goal into little goals. So I still did the job. I just didn't do it at once. And then I kept doing that so I could do it at once. And then I would say, okay, I'll do 10 miles on the bike, and then or walking, and I'll do 30 miles on the bike. And then I would do swimming 2 miles. And then I just kept, it was like micro goals, micro challenges for me, and that's what it was kind of. That's how the weight loss became like a game. Like how far could I really go, or how many miles could I walk this week? If I did 10, 10, 10, I could do 70 miles in one week. Oh my God, that's amazing. That's like 2,800 miles a month or whatever. I kept saying like things like that. So that's why I said, if you say I did a mile every day, that becomes 30 miles a day. You did it 3 months, you just walk 90 miles. Like
Yeah.
you'd think like 90 miles, that's a long mile. That's a long ways. So that's kind of, so the motivation came from myself. I am ex-military, so I know to dig in when it's tough, when it's hard. So I know that you can push yourself further than you think you can.
Mhm.
So
I like that you said you kind of made it a game. And speaking of games, pickleball is one of those sneaky exercise games. You don't really realize how much exercise you're getting because you're having so
for
much
sure.
fun. And I love that you started pickleball at a weight that you thought, oh, this is going to be a challenge. I'm not, that
Yeah,
built young guy, but still you were able to play. And that's a
I was.
message we definitely want people to understand. All different sizes, shapes, abilities can be on the court and having a blast and getting exercise.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Absolutely.
And
So, in addition, go ahead, Shell. You had a good question.
yeah, yeah. And I was just going to say, how has the pickleball community supported you in this journey?
So when I first played in my personal community, I was afraid to go out to the big parks because, like, oh man, they're really good. Because Florida is very, very high level pickleball here. It's very, because I've taken where I thought when I was just started playing and I had gone back to California to see my sons, and I was like, I want to play here. I haven't played since I had been here, back from where I'm from. And they're like, oh, we're 4-0 here, 4-0 here. And I would play them like, your guys aren't 4-0. The 4-0 maybe. So it's the balance of where people are. But anyways, I was afraid to go to the parks here because they're super good. I was like, oh, I don't want to get in there. I'm nervous. A new kid on the street trying to play with all these people. So I stayed in my community until I thought I was decent enough. And then I played on the leagues. So I at least would go into other communities and see what that level is, but at least was with a group of people that I was connected with in my own community here. And from there, I was like, okay, I need to go step out and go try to play with the big boys. So I went to the community park that has segregated a high level and beginner level. And I kind of just put myself in there and I just took my losses and learnings at the same time. And then I would come back to my community and take a lessons with, we had a tennis pro here who was kind of helping me with technique and stuff like that. So, okay, I got better here and I go back over there. I come back here and I kind of go back over there and until I would get more accepted, I guess, into like, okay, hey, Brian, you want to play with us? Until they started seeing my skills. Racquetball helped me segue quicker because of my hand speed.
Mhm.
Racquetball is hitting it low and hard, where tennis is hitting like rolls, right, with curves
Mhm.
and drop shots. That wasn't in racquetball, so that was something I had to retrain because we're used to hitting it hard and low. Now I have to teach my mind to hit over a net. So it was. But what helped me was when they hit it really hard and stuff like that. I had such great hands I could block, and it took me kind of far. So people liked playing with me at first with that.
Very
So.
cool. So, when you think about this journey that you've been on, what has changed other than your weight?
Um, so well, the changing of weight, you mean like over my diet has obviously really, really changed. That was, I know what to eat or not to eat anymore or how much to eat. So um, once you learn that basically everything in processed foods is just not the best for you, you learn, and I know that the road it took me to get to back to where I should be was so hard. Like I never want to go back there again. So I felt like I rolled the dice with my life to the edge and I got a
Mm-hmm.
second chance.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't take that chance for granted. And if I can share this message with anybody, it's never too late. Don't think it's too late. And you don't need the shortcuts, right? I mean, I felt obviously there's the GLPs that are meant for people who really need the GLPs, but there's some
Mm-hmm.
people who are taking them for the shortcuts, and it just there's in my personal feeling, I think there's just so many things that hasn't been studied enough that can hurt you down the road, and I think it just for me, I feel like just doing the hard work. It feels so much better because you remember how hard you work to get there. Like, do I really want to have that soda? That's to work off 300 calories. That's like an 8-minute mile. Is it worth it? Nah, no soda for me then. Screw that.
A moment in the mouth. So, how about any? Do you feel like you're back to who you used to be, or do you feel like you're a new guy?
Um, in the sense of like prior to my weight
Personally,
gain.
just
Oh
you
yeah,
as
yeah.
a.
So yeah. So I had, I mean, to be totally transparent, and open. I had probably some depression. I was getting heavy. I didn't feel good about myself. I didn't like. There was one. There was a question you asked me earlier. Was there one key moment? I want to share this moment because it's really transforming. I used to go out to dinner with my kids all the time, or we go out to eat. This is when I was heavier, and I'd always have to ask to sit at a table, not a booth, because some of the booth tables never move; they're stationary. So when I had to get in with my belly, it was embarrassing. And I'd like get in, and it'd be like tight on me. So I'd always have to say, "Hey, I need a table so I can get a chair and move it around." Right? When I had lost all this weight, and I hadn't been back to California to see my kids, so it had been a year, and I had lost basically 200 pounds. So they hadn't seen me face to face in a year, and they're like, "Oh my god." We went out to dinner and not paying attention to this. They're like, they say booth or a table. I said, oh, whatever, booth's fine. And my son goes, Dad, remember when you used to say you always had to get a table? And I was like, oh my God, it wasn't me remembering that. He remembered that. And that was a big key moment for me to acknowledge, like, wow, that was a big one for me. Like when they say, oh, you lost so much weight. Look at the mirror. We see ourselves when we look at ourselves, more critically, but when that was said, that was a big moment for me for sure, because I knew that for me, I knew that what that felt like for me, that I knew how embarrassed I was to say it and all that. But now, so now I saw the excitement, and him saying that must have meant something to him to see his dad not like that. So
Very cool.
that was a big
Wow.
one. So
Yeah.
yeah, those are the thing. So the confidence has come back, and the encouragement. So pickleball, so as I got into more of the pickleball in the community, the encouragement from everybody, a lot of the people didn't see my weight loss from way in the beginning, right? So people here had not seen that. And when I started sharing that story, and they became friends on Facebook because I started meeting them and adding them, they're like, oh my God, I did not know that was you. And then they're like, oh my God, the story means more sense now, because they saw it like halfway in, right? I had lost all the weight before I started playing, but they've been supportive of, like, and I'm sure like in anybody communities of these pickleball, everybody is such a family type friendly. I mean, I've never been part of a sport racquetball was I had my circle of friends, but this is just bigger. I could go to some other city and they'll welcome you in the same way as like you're their son or their brother. It's like that everywhere, It's just amazing how this game is so community shared
Mhm.
together, that family type atmosphere. So that's where a lot of the encouragement came from. And then that encouraged my game to get better. And I've gotten better, playing.
Wow,
Brilliant.
that's so cool.
Brilliant.
So, what does your fitness and pickleball routine look like today?
So I play from about 8 to noon in the morning. And then I play from about 5 to 8 at night, pickleball. And then I'll squeeze in a walk somewhere in the middle of the day or a bike ride. So it's a lot of pickleball for sure. Um,
Wow, every
it's a
day?
lot of pickleball, but every day, every
I
day.
wish
I,
my
I haven't
body
I
could
haven't
do
taken a
that.
day off from pickleball months.
Wow, I
It
wish my
can,
body could
it
do it.
can. No, I'm not saying I don't have ailments or anything like that, or I got sore feet and ankles and all that. I'm not saying that has not came with some of that involved, but as the more I play, the better I've gotten. And so, a year ago, so I picked up the paddle August of 2024. It's the first time I picked it up for the first time, and so for the last 3 weekends, I've won 2 gold medals, playing 3-5 men's, but now I just played in the medal round for 4-0 men's this last weekend. I've taken the bronze 2 weekends ago for 4-0 bronze,
Wow.
and and
Wow.
silver and a mixed 4-0 2 weekends before that. So, and I'm signed up for the U.S. Open here, which is in Naples, for the U.S.
Oh,
Open of pickleball.
oh,
So I'm in the lottery. We find out Wednesday if we got in. So I'm ready to,
Wow.
hopefully I can get into playing the US Open. So I'll play US Open 4.0 singles, 4.0 doubles men's, and 4.0 mixed doubles.
that is very
Wow.
exciting. And when does that take place?
April 11th is when it starts. So it's the biggest tournament of the United States for pickleball. So it happens to be in my city, which originally I didn't even know that. But it's such a big facility. So amazing. So yeah. Last year when I had just started playing, so about 6 months in, I had signed up to play in the US Open. Just I knew I wasn't even ready, but I was like, I gotta sign up because it's a lottery. You may or may not get in. And I got in.
Wow.
And while I was doing all this exercising and losing all this weight, I had a hernia that I had not known I've had for years. Because when I was heavy, I think it had happened 2 weeks before the tournament. I was in a league match, and it blew bigger open, and my intestines came through and pinched, and I had to pull out and had emergency surgery 2 weeks before the US Open. So I missed
Oh,
out.
oh,
So this will
oh.
be I've been waiting so it wasn't my time. So I figured
Right.
this time is my time.
Yeah.
So that's what happens training hard. Things can happen to your body, and everybody says, you got to take a rest, Brian. You got to take a rest. And, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep going, you know? But this was before, this was, I think it had happened a long time ago. And as I lost the weight, the hole became more flaccid, you know, bigger because I lost, you know, my skin started shrinking and stuff like that. So I think that's where it came from. But that was my little wake up call to slow down because I wasn't slowing down. So the man upstairs said, Brian, I'm going to slow you down my way.
I can see how it could almost be in the same way we can be kind of have an obsession around something, and sometimes it's food and sometimes it's other drugs, something else. I can see how when you're on the health path, it can almost become an out of control obsession too. And so having that ability to manage that and give yourself breaks, I can see how that would be really important.
Yeah, it is very important. I need to rest more. It's just that when things I've been playing so well, like for a while I wasn't winning any tournaments. It was tough. I'd lose. And then for 3 weekends or 2 weekends, the last 2 weekends prior to this one, I won 5 medals in 2 weekends in a row because I played 2 back-to-back weekends. It's like, I'm so excited. I'm going to go practice some more. I'm going to practice some more. And I need to tell myself to break. You know what's the funny thing is I'm at these park playing. There's more than me there doing the same thing. The same people that I'm playing with for 8 hours a day are also doing the same thing. So it's not just me that's addicted in playing all the time. So
there are worse addictions.
Pickleball is addictive, I have to say.
It is. It's an addiction.
It's a good addiction.
For sure. It's a good one.
It is.
So my goodness. Brian, we were just so delighted that you were able to be on our show and share your story. You inspired us before we started talking with you. You've inspired us today. What are some of the life lessons that you've gleaned? Either you learned these lessons in life and you find yourself using them when you're playing on the court, or while you were on the court, you thought, whoa, that is an important life lesson I just learned. What can you share?
I think my biggest one is the friendships and the sense of community. Winning tournaments and playing your best game is all great and fun, right? But it's the connection with the people. You never know, just the friendships. I have got more friends. I mean, I came to a state that I didn't know anybody, and it's like a new kid in the school. And next thing I know, I got like more than 20 plus friends who will just do anything for you at any moment. I mean, I have some really, really great friends, and it's that was the biggest life lessons. You know, it's a sport, and any sport people play basketball, football in high school and stuff like that. But this is something different. And what I love about the sport is that you don't have to have a background of some type of amazing sports background to get into the game. You can kind of come out with no background of maybe anything athletic,
right?
And you can play and enjoy the game at a certain level. You don't have to be chasing the tournaments and all that, but you can just enjoy having fun with friends and getting out there and just doing something, exercising, play for 3 hours and burn, like 1,500 calories and didn't even realize you did it. And like, oh my gosh, instead of walking like 10 miles, 10 miles straight, like, oh, this is so boring. You played 3 hours of pickleball and you had fun, and you lost a bunch of, burned some calories. So my life lesson is the friendships and the sense of community, because it's not just the one place you're at, it's in everywhere you go. It's very welcoming. Every tournament I've been to, it's like, hey, I saw you, like, it's just so nice. And so the life lesson for me was that I just be open, put yourself out there. There are people that started just like you that are out there, maybe just a beginner, and they're too afraid. They welcome you in. Come on in, play with us. They're not like, oh, you don't know how to play, you're not allowed. They will welcome you in for sure. I've seen it. I know it's there. And if I see it, I know where I was. And I give lessons and teach now because I want to help others, so it's kind of a passion of mine. So that's my life lesson.
One other life lesson that I've gleaned from you is don't put yourself last. Put yourself first. Get yourself, give everything you need to yourself so that you can give to others as well, which is exactly what you've done, Brian.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Very touching, actually.
Yeah, very. You're so inspirational.
I enjoyed this conversation.
Yeah. So, Brian, just for someone that's feeling, I just have a question for you. So for someone that's feeling overwhelmed or stuck right now, what's one small thing that you would say to them to get them to start their transformation?
So don't wait for next Monday. Don't wait for next Easter, don't wait. Just start right now. And it doesn't have to be a large goal. Just make it something consistent, And if you push yourself, if it's not the next week or the next 2 days, go just a little bit further. It doesn't have to be a lot further. And whatever it is, it could be biking, swimming, running, walking, just whatever it is, just go and do it every single day. Consistency will change the bad habits for sure. And it doesn't have to be, I don't have enough time. I worked all day. I got the kids. There's a moment in time where you can squeeze in, even if it's 15 minutes.
Yep.
And you just walked down the block and walk back or whatever, walked up and down the stairs in the house while the kids were sleeping just to burn calories. It will change every the way you think. So make small habits, small little things, because they'll make big impact waves at the very end.
Yeah.
So how can people find you, Brian?
So yeah, my Facebook, Brian Montgomery, and then on Instagram is Brian T Montgomery. Those are my two social media stuff. TikTok, I'm kind of on, but not really. I haven't really ventured into that world fully yet. But yeah, those are my two. Facebook, I do a lot more in, but Instagram, I just cross share it so they can see both of my stuff. So,
well, you're an amazing inspiration, Brian, and I'm delighted that you are sharing your story. I know so many of us relate and are inspired, and pickleball and community and putting ourselves first, our needs. And I just love everything you've shared with us. Thank you.
yeah, thank you. Thank you, ladies. I appreciate this.
Thank you,
Very
Brian.
delightful. And thank you all. Oh my gosh. Share this episode. Yeah. Thank you, Brian. And share this episode, everyone. And if you are in a position where you're thinking, gee, I wish I could be like Brian, guess what? You can. You take that first step,
Definitely.
just like he did. And then just keep on walking. Love you all. Thank you all. And we look forward to a new conversation next week. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
If you love our podcast, we'd be so grateful if you'd take a few seconds to follow or subscribe to Life Lessons from Pickleball. This ensures you'll never miss an episode and helps us continue these wonderful conversations.
On Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen, go to the show page and tap the follow button in the top right corner. And on YouTube, click the subscribe button under any of the episodes.
Thanks so much. Hope to see you on the court.